Play me jazz hot, baby, don't let it end. I tell you, friend, it's really something to hear. I can't sit still when there's that rhythm near me. Come on in and play me the jazz hot, baby, 'cause I love my jazz hot. Le jazz hot.
We did this huge special of Cinderella written by Rodgers and Hammerstein, which was a thrill. But when somebody, foolishly, just before we went on camera, said, do you realize that more people will see this evening than could see My Fair Lady in a year? That sort of puts it in perspective for you. You could play to packed houses every night for a year, and still it wouldn't be as many people as could see you on that one night live.
It was extraordinary to be around because it was essentially done as a live production, virtually as if it were a Broadway show. As I remember it, it was in black and white, but of course, in fact, it was really all built and painted, and the costumes were all in full color. It was a wonderful thing to be around and to be in the presence of Rodgers and Hammerstein, who were then very much the deans of the American musical theater.
In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. On the wheel of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me.
wildly excited crowd as the bride arrives. Julie Andrews, so well known to theatre audiences on both sides of the Atlantic.
Our wedding was kind of a zoo. I certainly wasn't expecting it. Rex Harrison's son, Noel, my best man, was using his top hat to smash people aside to try and get us through into the church.
After the ceremony, Julie and Tony faced the difficult task of getting to the reception on time. So great is the throng. Soon they'd be waltzing away into their future. Here's happiness and good fortune to Tony and his fair lady.
I'm very nervous.
Have you ever acted with Richard Burton before?
No, never. I've never met him, as a matter of fact.
Is he going to do any singing in this Camelot?
I gather he is, and he's a Welshman. I should think he ought to be able to sing.
How do you think the story of King Arthur and his knights will adapt for a musical?
Well, I think it sounds fabulous.
Camelot was a wonderful experience because it was such a high-profile situation. It was the first Lerner and Loewe since My Fair Lady, and it's after the fact it's very hard to explain that. But that sort of success that was enjoyed by, and deservedly by Lerner and Loewe and Moss Hart, it was so opulent.
When Camelot started out, Moss Hart said it doesn't have to be like it was in My Fair Lady. It doesn't have to be as backbreaking and miserable. We're all successful now. It can be a glorious experience. And so I brought this champagne and we're all going to have a wonderful time. From that moment, everything went wrong. Adrian died, Fritz Loewe got a heart attack, and Alan had bleeding ulcers, I think. And Moss had a heart attack in Toronto. And on until it was a riderless horse. There was nobody in charge of it. And it was Richard and Julie who kind of held it together, and their mutual love of the T.H. White book from which it derived.
And suddenly, for the first time, I felt I was king. I was glad to be king. And most astonishing of all, I wanted to be the wisest, most heroic, most splendid king who ever sat on any throne. If you will come with me, my lady, I will arrange for a carriage to return you to your father. So, it's this way.
I hear it never rains till after sundown. By 8 the morning fog must disappear. In short, there's simply not a more congenial spot for happy ever aftering than here in Camelot.
Alan J. Lerner's writing style was that it took him a long, long time to perfect his lyrics. And sometimes 2 lines would take any number of days. But apparently he worked in a tiny closet underneath his stairs because he needed to box himself in so that there was no other distraction at all.
I walked into the theater one day, and Alan, there was Julie up on the stage doing an entirely new thing. I think it was the Merry Month of May, I forget. But it was a whole number and new costume, and we were opening in 2 days. And I said to Alan, I said, but it's impossible. It's impossible to do it. And what if she can't do it? He said, oh, she will. And of course she did, and it looked like she'd been rehearsing it for months. Astonishing, astonishing professional.
What else do the simple